Hey, fitness instructors, we're going to talk about 12 things that can go wrong when you launch your own online fitness program. So if you're a fitness instructor, say yes down in the comments. If you're teaching at a gym or you rent space or you own your own studio or you're doing virtual classes and you're looking to make more income, you want to make more money, this is a place to be, and online programs is the way to go. Now, a lot of instructors that I've met, a lot of them have been trying to launch their own programs and then they fail, it flops, they come back and they tell me it doesn't work. It does work, but you're doing it wrong, right? So there's a lot of things that they can go wrong. Say yes in the comments if you have been thinking about launching your own online program. Or if you've already launched your program and it didn't go so well, also say yes in the comments. Like, let me know. My name is Jessica and welcome to the stage. I help your fitness instructors make money online so that you don't have to teach a bazillion classes. We mainly focus on making $1,000 online because an extra $1,000 on your paycheck, I don't know about you, but for me, it was like a huge difference. So what happened to me is that when I was like you, I'm a fitness instructor. I was just teaching classes. I was teaching classes at a gym, but a lot of you are teaching renting spacing. That's totally fine. And, I wasn't making enough money. So I learned about this whole concept of creating your own program, making your program online so that you don't have to, you make it once. You don't have to do it every single week like a class. And you can sell it to anyone and everyone, right? So it opens up your market. So that means that you're not restricted to selling your classes or your things just to the people in your location. Lots of instructors are, maybe this is you where you feel like you're in a very remote location. So not a lot of people can go to your classes, or you're the opposite. You're in a big city. I'm in Dallas, which is big, right? So you're surrounded by a lot of competitions, lots of other instructors to choose from. So then it's hard to grow your class because of competition. So all of that affects income, right? In my case, I wasn't making enough money. I was teaching as many classes as I could and still not enough. So then when I learned about this concept about online programs, it made sense, right? Say yes if you're kind of like with me so far, or you're at this point where you're like, okay, I get it. Yes. So anyway, I learned as much as I could from all the tips and the challenges, and like as much as I could like take from kind of like what you're doing right now, just learning the things. And I was super excited. I created my program. It took me forever, by the way, to create it. It took about 6 months to just create the program, know what it was going to be about, create all the things. I got really excited. It was such a fun project. I was so excited to like put this into the world. I knew this is something that people needed, people wanted. Like I was very excited about doing this. And I was more excited about getting paid for it, right? Because it was not going to be $20 like a class or a $20 drop-in. And then I launched it and it flopped. Like miserably. Okay. I don't know what it was. I was talking to people and at the beginning they seemed curious. I'm like, sure, tell me about it. And as I started talking about the program, they started to drop like flies. And the curiosity sometimes turned into interest and then it would die. Or they would stay in like the curiosity phase where they're like curious about it. And then I like tell them about it and then they like go away or ghost me. Right. So then I made 0 sales. That was 6 months of me building something, getting excited about something, launching it. I thought I knew all the things. I thought I was doing it right and following all the tips, all of it so that at the end I crashed and burned. So I don't want that to happen to you. Okay? So I'm going to tell you 12 things. There's more things that can go wrong, but I'm going to give you 12 things of why these things happen and then how to fix it, like what to do about it. So what most fitness instructors don't see is that when you're launching a program and it doesn't sell, it's not you, right? It's not that an instructor, it's not when let me say it the other way. When an instructor launches a program and it does sell, it does sell, people are buying it. It's not because they posted it on their website. It's not because they did a cute graphic and they posted it on social. It's not because, they priced it so low that like, duh, of course they were going to purchase. It's none of that. When a program is launched and it is a successful launch and you're making $500 on your first launch or $1,000 in your launch, which is, the $500 mark is what we do with the Fitness Boss program. That's our goal for the first launch. is the reason that it's not going is that it's not selling is because the instructor didn't do the behind the scenes work. That was the piece that was missing. I'll get more into that. But launching a class is very much like teaching a class. Launching a program is very much like teaching a class. My goodness, I can't talk. When you're teaching a class, your students, you make it look effortless for your students, right? Your students are excited. They come in and like, oh my gosh, she has it. And you're doing all this as if you're doing it in your sleep. You're teaching that class flawlessly. You're fun. You're easy to follow. You know, people can follow what you're doing and you make it look easy. There's a song. I make it look easy. However, it wasn't effortless. It took effort. In fact, most of the energy and time that you spent happened before you taught the class. You had to get certified. You had to get licensed. You had to learn your format, not from, taking other classes. You had to take a training from a pro who knows what they're talking about, right? And take the training of that format. You had to follow those guidelines. You had to practice. You had to create that playlist. And that playlist is not just some random combination of songs, right? You have a list of the things that you should be using. They tell you what not to be using. And then you need to arrange that playlist in a certain order so that it's like high intensity, low intensity, Every format is a little bit different, right? You had to practice each routine. Some of you like to choreograph. You had to choreograph that routine, right? And then you had to practice the cues. I dance with my hat and I take the hat off and I, let the hair down and I do the hair thing. Even those little details are choreographed. Okay. I know exactly when I'm going to do those and I do it the same way every single time, right? So by the time you're teaching your 1 hour class, none of it is improvised. Everything was practiced and planned before the class, way in advance. You did the behind the scenes, right? These are things that your students don't see, so that when you're teaching a class, you just go in and it looks easy. It looks effortless and it just takes you an hour, right? Launching a program is very similar. When you see somebody launch a program and make money online, like the fitness instructors that go through the Fitness Boss program, and when they're doing that, you're just seeing that 10%, right? It's like students seeing you teach a class. They're seeing the 10% of your effort. You're not seeing all the behind the scenes that went into that. So why your didn't sell? So there's about 12 things. I'm going to go through them. Are you ready? Say yes if you are. 12 things that can go wrong when instructors launch their programs on their own without knowing what the behind the scenes are. Number one, you launch on-demand or pre-recorded classes instead of launching a program. So it didn't make any sales. You launched a program, but the goal of that program was either too weak, kind of like a meh goal, or too vague. This program is to make you be healthy, right? No, so then it didn't sell. You created a program of what you wanted to do. I've actually worked with instructors like, I want to do, a strength program. Great, but your people want something else, right? Or I want to give a program about this, and that. Great, but that's not what you people want. So when you launch a program that you want and not what the market or your audience wants, no sales. You create a program of what you think they need, not what they want. So let's say that, for example, they want to lose weight and you're like, oh yes, they need nutrition. Okay, but that's not what they want. They don't want nutrition tips. They just want to lose weight, right? So if you're selling something, you created a program that is something that you think they need, you're not going to sell it either. It's not going to sell. If you created a program, it has a strong specific goal, but it only has a few of the components of what makes a strong program. So to create a strong program, your program actually needs 9 different elements. A goal is just one of those elements, okay? Time frame, like making it 30-day or 6-week, is just another one of those time frames. So if you have a good goal and a good time frame, great, but you're missing the other 7, right? So if you're missing the other 7, there's a high likelihood that you don't know what those are, so then it's not going to sell. You created your program, but it has too much stuff in your program. So too much stuff overwhelms your audience and ultimately it doesn't sell. Or it has too little. It's kind of too thin and you're asking for a high price. So then what you're offering versus what the price is doesn't really match. So then there's no sale. You didn't talk to anyone about your program. So basically you just posted your program and you posted the link and you had no conversations with people. So this can also, there's not going to be any sales. Okay. if you talked to people, but you were talking to the wrong people. So these are people that either only want for free stuff. So then the moment you deliver, your price, of course, they're running away or they say no, or they're people, I call them the not ready yet, right? It's always like, oh, I'm not ready. I need to think about it. Or it would be nice crowd. They would like that, but yeah, they're not going to spend money on you. So you're talking to the wrong people. So then you didn't make any sales. You're talking to the right people, but you're not talking to enough people. So if you're talking to the right people, people who actually want that goal and are interested and curious and are willing to put in the time and effort to get that goal, but you only talk to 5 people, then you're not going to make any sales. We do need volume. Typically 1 out of 10 people will buy. So you need to be talking over more than 10 people, in order to make that sale. You spoke to people, you had conversations, you were talking to people, but you were spammy about it. That means that people said that they were interested. Yay, great. And then when you start talking to them, you're just like, here's my link, register, right? And you're just sending them the link or just sending them the information. So then no sales. Another reason is that you are talking to them and you're having a conversation, but you're saying all the wrong things. Usually instructors, when they're talking to people about their program, they focus on how much the program is, how long the program is, and then what they get with the program. You're going to get 3 workouts a week, or you're going to get or you're going to get this PDF, or you're going to get, sleeping pattern, affirmation, and motivate. And they start talking about all the things that they're going to get. Your people don't care about that. Okay? If you want to learn how to sell your program, they actually what your program includes is not the most important part of the sale. But it's the part that most instructors focus on because they don't know how to talk about their stuff. And if you just posted your thing, right, your program on your website and then again did nothing. So those are just some of the things that can go wrong when you try to launch on your own. So the reason they didn't buy is not because you weren't trying. The reason they didn't buy is not because you're a bad instructor. And the reason they didn't buy is not because of the price or the market or people aren't buying right now or the economy. It's none of that. Okay. The reason they're not buying is because you didn't do the behind the scenes required to allow your program to be successful. You don't have the behind the scenes skills, right, to understand what it takes to have a successful launch. And because you didn't do that, it's like teaching a class, right? Let's say that you love your format, but you never took any training. Like you just went to somebody else's class. I like Zumba. Zumba was the first format that I ever learned. Let's say that I didn't take the Zumba training to become a certified legit instructor. I just went to my friend's class and I modeled her class and I did my own. Is it likely to be successful? No, because I have no idea what the techniques are, what the guidelines are for that program. I don't know about the 4 rhythms. I don't know about the 4 steps for each rhythm. I don't know about the structure of the playlist. I don't know any of the behind the scenes. I just saw a class, improvised my own, and then wanted the same results as the instructor who put in the work, right? It's just not going to work. So it's not the program. It's not the price, right? It's the behind the scenes work. It takes strategy, positioning, timing, and the messaging is so important. All of these things are behind the scenes. So say behind the scenes if it's starting to click. This, by the way, is also the reason why instructors struggle to grow their classes. It's not because you're a bad instructor. It's not because of the economy. It might be because of the summer. Summer and like June, July, and then like December are slow months. So that can be the season. But if it's not July and it's not December and you're having trouble growing your classes, it usually is not because of your skills as a fitness instructor. You're a good fitness instructor. You're just not good at promoting it. Same thing with launching a program, right? There's the skills that you're not aware of when launching your program that's going to either allow you to have a successful launch or a floppy launch, right? And I don't want you to have a floppy launch. So this is what I teach in the Fitness Boss program. You already have the skills to help people. You already have the fitness skills, right? To help them become healthy. All you need are the behind the scenes sales, marketing, strategy skills that they don't teach you in the formats. That's what's going to be the money makers, right? You need the fitness skills in order to make money, but if you have the fitness skills and you don't have the money making, marketing and business skills, you're only going to make this much money. This is why instructors are so stuck with their income, right? Because they are missing all of these other skills. Now, in the Fitness Boss program, we actually do 3 things. We take 3 weeks of behind the scenes prep work. That's 3 weeks that you don't get to see, right? What they're doing behind the scenes to ensure that by the time they launch, they have a successful launch. Now, when they launch, it only takes 5 days. They're making $500 to $3,000 in just 5 days without any posting. What? How did they do that? Because it took them 3 weeks of work to get there, right? So it's not just creating something and telling people about it. There's a lot more that goes into it. Once we have your program up and running and you launch it and you make your first $1,000 with that launch, the next phase is to deliver your program. Oh, by the way, we pre-sell it, right? So we're pre-selling it during those during that 5-day launch. Once you pre-sell it, now you have to deliver it. So now we get to recording, and there's no techie stuff. It's just record on Zoom, upload on YouTube, deliver on email. Super simple, nothing fancy, right? So instructors get that done. And during that process, at the same time, I'm showing you how to transition your first time clients into long-term members using memberships so that you make another $1,000 using the same clients, right? So that's what we do in the first 60 days. And then after that, now we work on marketing. Now we work on posting, not being spammy, but on building your brand and attracting the right people that you can help. Is this making sense? Now, all of this is a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So if you have never launched your program, or if you launch your program and it kind of flopped, or you're kind of scared to do this, this is your time. I'm currently giving 3 scholarships for the Fitness Boss program. So you say boss in the comments and I'll send you the application. That means that you can be one winner. I'm going to do one winner that's going to have a 50% scholarship. I'm going to pay for 50% of that fee, and 2 winners for 25% a scholarship. So if you have been thinking about launching this and you want to make sure it is successful, follow the plan that works. Follow the plan that other instructors, all they do, it's literally a 5-step process, right? So you don't have to guess. You don't have to wait. You don't have to, right, be aware of all of these 12 different things. We fix that before you launch through the behind the scenes to make sure that when you launch, you're launching a strong program to the right people and saying the right things. So say boss in the comments. In the next 60 days, you could be making an extra $1,000 to $2,000 if we start today. Next year, right, if you continue doing this month after month, once you know how to do it, you could be making an extra $10,000 by next June if you start right now, if you create your program right now, if you learn the behind the scenes of how to sell, how to create a good program and how to sell it, and then how to do that month after month, you could have $10,000 extra in your bank account this time next year just by doing the online stuff. But that won't happen if you don't start. That won't happen if you try to do it on yourself, because that takes longer because you have to do trial and error without knowing all the behind the scenes secrets. So you're going to learn them by like, oh, I needed to do this. And the way that you're learning is through like, crying, which was weird. Say boss in the comments if you want access to that scholarship. By the way, applying to the scholarship does not mean that you're applying for the program. It just means you're curious about it and you want to see what the scholarship is about. So you're applying for the scholarship, not for the program. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.